Okay, this is the first time I've actually really played the guitar. This is a custom shop, something else. I think it's D-45. Let's see what this says. It just says custom shop. It is basically a D-45, but my gosh, the auto did stop at nothing on this guitar. It's really something else. It's got abalone inlay all around it. Double binding. It's got wood binding. But I've never seen from the Martin. I didn't even know Martin did wood binding, to tell you the truth. Just a gorgeous guitar. I was scared to death to work on it because when it came to me, it's pristine. And what happened is the owner just got some specs. I'm not going to say wrong. Some specs that he wished he would have done the other spec. He mentioned the 37 authentic a little bit more, and stuff like that. So my job was just to kind of push it that direction. So let's talk about the guitars again. Madagascar rosewood, back and sides. Man, this is a beautiful guitar. Madagascar rosewood, and I'm not sure what the top is. I think it was Alpine. I think it's the Alpine spruce. And killer pickguard on it, man. Okay, so it had heavy tuners on it, and I changed the starter pick. I changed the gold Waverlys. I did a real good job, thank you very much, on the raccoon eyes. I can barely see imprints, and I didn't want to sand too much on that, man. I was so happy to see just the smallest of dimples, because everything is so shiny and pristine to this, When you sand, you're always going to leave sandy marks. It'll take you hours to get it nice and factory again. So, anyway, I put gold Waverlys on it, and these work really good. I mean, I was tuning up, and this set works real nice. They lined up real nice. The nut, I didn't do anything on the nut, and that's good because there's a lot of finish over the nut, and I would have had to cut it, take it off, chip it up. I really didn't want to do that. So the nut's good. That's fine. The frets are fine. They're brand new. The neck angle was pretty low. Fresh out of the factory. It had like 100 thousandths of an inch of saddle height on it and a 115 action. It just wasn't right. So I did a neck reset on it. I did the neck reset after I spaced the bridge spacing out. The owner really, wanted the wider bridge spacing. I said, well, we could do 2 1/4 inch spacing, and what I'll do, instead of making a new bridge, I'll plug the holes in here with ebony dowels. And I bought some ebony dowels specifically for this purpose. So I drilled out the holes and put in ebony dowels 5/16 of an inch so that I had completely fresh wood to work with. Then I marked them, drilled them back out for 2 1/4 inch spacing. And I told him I was going to do that. And then I whiffled and waffled on it because I didn't want to do it on the guitar. I would have had to drill through the bridge plate, through the top, and then I would have had ebony dowels on the inside of the bridge plate, and that would have looked like not good. I didn't want to take the bridge off because the top is so pristine, and every time you hit the bridge off, I don't care, there's going to be some evidence. There's heat sinking around here. There's something. You cannot take a bridge off perfectly clean. I mean, I can probably fool it out of you, but I would notice it, In fact, I do notice it. Actually, it's pretty good. Just a little bit. Yeah, a little bit of feathering right around there. And the other reason for the feathering is because there's finish underneath the bridge. No, I take it back. On this bridge, this is one of the newer ones where it's inset. So Martin cuts out the finish and they inset this bridge down into the finish. So, you know what I'm saying? You've got the bridge below the layer of the finish, and it's a beast. You can't get your spatula, down in there. You've got to go over the top of the lacquer and get down. And so they're not real hard to take off, but they are impossible, in my opinion, to take off without some kind of evidence. So I told him all the pros and cons, and he said, "Don't worry about it." I thought, well, thank you. You know, now when a guy says that, when they've got a pretty guitar like this, that is visually a stunning instrument, they're hard to work on, man. You make one mistake, it's all over. You just want to go crawl in the corner and die. But when he said, okay, don't worry about the bridge, great. You know, now I have some confidence. So I took the bridge off, drilled the holes, shot him, glued it back on, and then I got to looking at it, and I just thought, that one's off. You know, because the trouble is when you're dealing into a dowel, the grain is running straight down. When you're dealing to the bridge, the grain is running across. So what you really need is a plug but you know, where are you going to get a plug that's that deep? So when you drill through a dowel, the grain's running this way, and your drill bit wants to wander a little bit. And that's what it did. It wandered on one of these strings. I'm not going to tell you which one, or you'll always look at it. But it wandered, and it just didn't look right. You know, it wasn't right. So I took the bridge off again. So now I've gone from not wanting to take the bridge off at all to taking the bridge off twice. And I re-drilled my dowel out and did it again. I think I did 2 of them to get it 100% right. And I found a trick in doing this, by the way. So I learned something from this. And I documented that somewhere. I think I did a video on it. Of how to, I used a very small drill bit rather than the big one. I used a very small, tiny metal cutting drill bit that was just sharp, and that didn't wander. And my initially thought that would be the one to wander, that it would bend, you know, but it didn't. It cut a nice clean. I got small holes and I lined them all up, and they all look great. And from there, I went progressively larger on the drill bits. I usually have probably 4 or 5 size drill bits building up on the sides, and I'm very happy with it now. They look really good. You can't even see the dowel marks. You have to really look on them. So, long story short then, well, I've already gone through a long story, but anyways, so I was able to do the dowels just through the bridge, and then I filled in the top with maple dowels. So they went in and matched the bridge plate. And I'm drilling through there anyway, so I'm going to take away about 3/4 of the mark on the bridge plate. So the bridge plate looks pretty good. Yeah, the bridge looks real good. After I did that, then I reset the neck, and I made sure that I got my string spacing lined up just perfectly. Because when you go to the wider spacing, it really goes pretty close to the edge of the fingerboard, and you've got to get it perfectly lined up. When you go from 2 1/8 to a 2 1/4 inch, 2 1/4 inch will run almost perfectly straight from the nut all the way down the neck to the bridge. 2 1/8 will veer in a little bit, and that gives you a little bit of wiggle room on the neck, and most people won't even notice a little bit of misalignment on the neck. So it's a much more forgiving thing to use a 2 1/8. But when you use 2 1/4, it has to be perfect. And especially on a D-45, where you've got the binding here, that's a visual guide, and you've got the string running down the binding, and it has to go perfectly. It looks good. It looks good to me. The little E might be in just a hair, but that's okay, because most people, for one thing, you're down here playing, and your fingers are going to block that just a little bit, the visual part. The low E is going to be much more visible, and it's going to be running right straight down the binding here. Second reason for the E to come in, just the high E just a little bit, is because most players will pull this string off the fingerboard. They don't generally push the E, the low E. They generally pull the high E off like this. So giving it just a little bit more room is not a bad thing. Third reason you might want to run this one parallel and have this one come in just a little is if you ever play with your thumb. And I used to think, I never play with your thumb, but then I learned little ring, you know? Oh, wrong place. And there's your thumb. These are nickel bronze strings, they're not sliding for me. thumb. I started using my thumb a little bit more. I used to think it was only a finger picker deal, and then I actually sat down and learned a little Jimmy and Stevie Ray Vaughan stuff. And my gosh, I'm using my thumb all the time now. So it's nice having that low E just a little bit closer, or at least an even distance. Okay, so that's all a lot on that. So I was pretty happy with my string spacing. Happy with that. The other thing, I took the popsicle brace out. The owner asked, do you think it'll get too brittle? And no, it won't get too brittle. It'll actually help the trebles. So it helps the trebles breathe a little bit more. If you look at a clanty plate diagram, you'll see that the B string is what vibrates this part. And so by opening that up, you actually make the trebles a little lusher, thicker, airier, more robust. I think it helps the trebles. But anyways, we're looking at the Authentic as our model, so popsicle brace comes out. This also had the HD28 style bracing, and again, stops about 1.5 inches shy of the X, and so I opened it up all the way. I left it strung up for about 2 weeks before I did the neck reset. So, let the top belly up what it's going to belly, and then I can reset the neck to that. Which is the advantage you have of doing a neck reset after the construction, is you've given the guitar a chance to twist, warp, mold, and the way it's going to do. And then you can set the neck to that. And in my experience, that's probably the last neck reset it's going to need for a long time. I wouldn't be surprised if this one never needs another neck reset, because I was able to set it post-construction. Okay? So I gave it your average saddle. It's about 140, 150 thousandths of an inch. Comes to the top of the string, comes to the top of the pin. It looks nice. And I can't tell, this guitar must have a 1:23, 30 seconds in its neck or something. It might be 1 3/4. I haven't measured it, but it feels good. It's got a nice rounded V to it. Gosh, sounds good, doesn't it? But it was a scary, scary guitar for me to work on. Now, I'm going to compare it to the Authentic, and it's not a fair comparison right now. And the reason is because, again, this one has nickel bronze strings on it. The Authentic has got the phosphor bronze strings on it. But that doesn't matter. Strings are easy to change. What we're looking at here is more just, how do you like the sound of this setup? So many of my videos, people are like, oh, you can't do that. You can't compare mahogany to rosewood. Or do they have the same strings? That's not what I'm really looking at. What I'm looking at is, how do you like this overall package compared to this overall package? So when I compare a Collins D2H to a Martin D18, I know they're different. I'm not that dumb. I know they're different. What I'm saying is, do you like this package or do you like this package? And if you like this package but want to move this one closer to it, then that helps me, you see. So if you like your Collins D2H, but you want more woof from it, you want the woof of the Authentic, then I know what to do to help you move that direction. So that's what's happening on these comparisons. I'm not really saying this guitar is better. I'm saying this is this package here. The owner can very easily go mess with the strings all day long. All he wants to do. Strings are cheap. Go get strings. Go get a dozen different kinds of strings and spend all day long just trying strings out, Do it. Okay, so that's not the purpose. I know these have nickel bronze on them, and I've done another video on the difference between nickel bronze and 80/20s and that kind of thing. And so, what we're looking at here is the overall package. How does this overall package sound compared to that overall package? Okay, so here we go. Well, you want my opinion? This is a heck of a guitar. This is really nice. I think it's going to warm up as the brace scalloping kicks in, but I like it. It's got a real punch to it. You know, I grinned a couple times when I was playing it. There's not a thing in the world wrong with this instrument at all. Yeah. It's got a fundamental sound now because, you know, it's got nickel bronze strings on it, and that's the kind of sound that they give. They give a fundamental, I'm not going to say dull, but it's a bassier sound. Yeah, I like them. I ran them on my Collings, and I like them on there pretty good. I run them on my mandolin, one of my mandolins over there, and they give a certain sound, which, you know, is cool. It's not as zingy and it's not as ringy as phosphor bronze, but it is definitely an interesting sound. And so, change strings a little bit. I would personally, I run Elixir phosphor bronze nano webs, and for me, those have the right combination of sound. They have the right combination of feel too. I like the nickel bronze. They're pretty good on my fingers. They're not really super grabby. They do grab a little bit more than the Elixirs that I'm used to. But like I said, I use them on the mandolin, and I have used them on the guitar, and they're pretty good. I do get, just a little more finger squeak than I really like. So play with some strings on this and see what you think is known. But as far as the guitar sound and feel, it's nice, man. I really like 2 1/4. Man, I noticed 2 1/4 coming off of 2 1/8. 2 1/8 is just. It's just like I wish it was 2 1/4. You wouldn't think an eighth of an inch would make that big of a difference, but it does. It just pushes it over the edge to that comfort zone, So, I like it, I'm going to mess around with it, and this is just outtake stuff. This is stuff, I'm just going to play the guitar a little bit, see what I think. Don't judge me when I'm playing. That's not good. The only thing I don't like about it, the dots are hard to see. And I blew it over there a minute ago a little bit, and I went, whoa. And I wish the dots were a little bit bigger. And when you get this kind of wood binding on here, you get all these little stripes and specks and spots, and it's hard to see those dots. You'll probably get used to it.